And we are going live. Yes, we are live. Yay! And of course, Mother has to fart. Oh no, wait a second. That wasn't a fart. Never mind that. Anyway, good evening, all. We are going to go live, and we're going to talk about whether ethics,
another sausage fest,
morals, and whatnot are useful or even necessary. And we're going to do that by starting off with an article in the Conservative Tribune. And I should share that in a moment, which I will.
Before we get to that, I have one question. Before we get to that, I have one question. How is weather ethical?
Why is weather ethical?
You said weather ethical, and then you stopped talking because Real Raven said something over you, and I couldn't hear you.
Weather, W-H-E-T-H-E-R, not weather, W-H-E-A-T-E-R.
Okay.
I know English is a different language, mate. I'm sorry. I mean,
no. You confused the hell out of me because I just heard weather, and then it cut off because Real Raven said something, and then you just stopped. So I was really confused.
Hey, good starts are good starts.
I was like, I don't know if we're going to discuss the ethics of a hurricane, but I could give it my best shot.
Well, there was that whole thing last year where the weather was being sexist. Like, I would love to say that I'm just being a smartass, but there was actually a campaign and a bunch of news articles on how global warming and the weather is a sexist event.
Oh, no, yeah. There was something about the eclipse being a sexist event too.
No,
it wasn't sexist. It was racist because it only crossed the southern part of the U.S.
I've seen Black Lives Matter make the argument it's racist. So
yeah, so
yeah, no. So
BLM in the UK protested. In the UK they did. Yeah.
In the UK, the weather always sucks. So I don't know.
Anyway. Hi there, Marcel. Hi there, Davey. Hi there, Malachite. Hi there, Crusader Soul. And we're going to start with this article. Mike Rowe, the popular host of Dirty Jobs TV program, has long focused on the importance of hard work and the strong work ethic and emphasized the need for more blue-collar workers in the various skilled trades. Now, for those of you who do not know the show, Dirty Jobs is a show where Mike Rowe, do I have a picture of this guy? No, I don't.
He's a real American hero.
But he is.
He's Canadian, isn't he?
I don't think so. But
many of the American heroes are.
Anyway, he goes to jobs and he does them, and they're dirty jobs. So it's not like he's sitting in an office with an air conditioning. Now, in all fairness, he only goes there for a few days. He doesn't really do the jobs. But what he does do is he shows people the jobs that are out there that are being done.
And also, he's not Canadian. He was born in Maryland.
Yeah, I just looked that up too.
Same.
I was hoping somebody would forget that I said that.
Nope. Canada sucks again, Futternut.
Anyway, so he's having to go to certain jobs which are really, really good. But then again, people are doing these jobs because they need to be done. So his show was more or less testament to the jobs people needed to do and how they were being done. And he's trying to pull these people more up to the front, like, okay, you know what? We have a great society. These people make it happen.
Yeah, I remember watching a show when I was growing up, and I used to admire the people who would get... He did an episode where they were doing the people who clean the sides of skyscrapers all the way up in the air. And I admire people who lean out over the building and actually bother to clean the windows, because God knows I'd be cleaning it with my urine.
I don't know. If we're both on that scaffold, I think your urine would just be rinsing off the shit that came out of my pants.
Everywhere.
So anyway, let's continue with the article. As such, he created MicroWorks, which is the thingy where he made the programs from. And out of that, he now hands out scholarships for young individuals seeking the necessary training to enter skilled trade workforce. I think mostly as welders, or if I remember the article right. And before you will be able to get the how do you call it? The handout. It has a good name. I can't remember.
Scholarship. It's on the screen.
Yes, thank you. See, I'm slow. I told you I'm slow today. But you're right, scholarship. Before you get the scholarship, before you can actually apply for the scholarship, you have to agree to sign their pledge. Skill and work ethics aren't taboo pledge. Now, this is the backstory, right? There's a guy who has money, who is willing to give you money so you can educate yourself into training a proper manual job. And to be able to get that money, all he wants of you is to at least have certain ethics. And this is where the shit hit the fan. According to the Daily Wire, a mother of a young man interested in applying for the scholarship took exception to the pledge and let Micro know. Okay, I haven't the full pledge here. In all fairness, I don't care about the full pledge. But this is the funny thing. And this is the text Micro posted. Mr. Rowe, I heard about your work ethic scholarship program and suggested my son apply. So here we have a parent, and considering the name, I'm going to say a mother. I know, it's very
sexist,
pretentious of me to assume that this was a woman, but okay.
It is a woman.
I'm going to assume it is.
No, it is. It says the mother of a young man.
Yeah, but nowadays men can be mothers too.
Yeah, it's 2018. You can't assume a gender or a role.
See?
Yeah, guys,
I'm old.
It's 2018 and genders are like the Twin Towers. There used to be 2 of them, and now it's a really sensitive subject.
Sorry. Okay. Fair enough, though.
So, Modwain, just to let you know, the full pledge is linked at the bottom of the article. It is there.
I know, but I'm not going to go to the how do you call it? I'm not going to the whole the pledge because we might. Who knows? We might.
I think we kind of have to for context sake.
Maybe. I'm sorry.
Well, why don't we just go after what the mother had said? Because I've seen this Mike Rose show before.
Okay, let's continue. Okay, so I heard about your work ethic scholarship program and suggested my son apply. So the woman is like, yeah, this would be a good idea. He wants to be a welder. I was appalled though when he showed me your sweat pledge and told me that signing it was required of all applicants. Where did you come up with this nonsense? There are so many things wrong with this document, I don't even know where to begin. Suffice it to say, we will not be applying. It's a scholarship. You want my money, this is what I ask of you. How dare you ask anything of me, just give me your money. The entitlement is...
It's nuts.
This is the first thing, but I'll give the floor to you guys. This is the first thing.
Here's my...
I mean, yes, there is a pot of money. Yes, I'm willing to hand it out.
Here's something, Modwain. As a student that actually has to pay for the school and pay back student loans and all that shit, if you're just going to offer me a scholarship for taking some online pledge, great. And since I actually have scholastic bills, if you're going to give me money, I don't care if the prerequisite is I have to send you a dick pic. I want that fucking money.
Well, I guess they want you to uphold the pledge as well. And hi there, Square Peg. Ooh, Square Peg. Can you send me a tweet message, by the way? Because I can't find you in my Twitter feed. But yeah, I mean, so I assume though, because it's a pledge, they want people to uphold it, to honor it. But I can't, for the life of me, imagine why you would say to someone, okay, you want to give me money, but no, I don't want your money. Or rather, I want your money, but I don't want to say the things you want me to say. Which, in all fairness, I can understand that much. I mean, I give you $1 million if you say, guess the juice. Well, only orange juice, not apple juice.
Well, yeah, and if you're a principled person, I can honestly back you up if you're not going to take money based off of it conflicting with your principles. But I would still like to know what the pledge is, because if I don't know what the pledge is, I can't say whether this woman's being nuts or not.
Okay,
I know
shall I read it? Shall I read it? No, nobody.
Yeah, go. If you can link it.
Before you read it,
It's there, but on the article, I can read it. It's in front of me.
Test, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Now you can. I said I had an echo earlier. Just a question: did you want to learn welding too? Because she said we are not going to sign it.
Yeah, well, you know.
I mean, you know, I personally wouldn't. I wouldn't really want an apprentice who needs his mother to sign something. You know.
I can't have a decent size.
No, it's great. I'm reading it. It's well worth hearing.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that one. Go on.
Yeah, go ahead, read it out.
And about the dick pic, you would send him the dick pic anyway, wouldn't you?
If they're giving me money.
No, you want to, right?
No, not really. I don't even send my girlfriend dick pics. But if somebody wants to pay for
She's
it,
got you, surely. Sorry. Okay, number 1. I believe that I have won the greatest lottery of all time. I am alive. I walk the earth. I live in America. Above all things, I am grateful. So that's point 1.
Oh
2.
my God.
No, I think it's
nothing wrong with that.
Number 2. I believe that I am entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Nothing more. I also understand that happiness and the pursuit of happiness are not the same thing.
They are
Well,
not the same thing.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3. I believe that there is no such thing as a bad job. I believe that all jobs are opportunities, and it's up to me to make the best of them.
Well, can I interject that there is a bad job if you do it, if you do a bad job.
Yeah, well, that's what he's getting at. He's saying it's not the job that's bad, it's
what you do with it.
yeah.
As long as it's a legal job.
I'm only reading out what it says.
No, that's fair. That's my one objective. That's my one objection, because you'll hear a lot, especially here. A lot of the defense that drug dealers use is, I use the opportunities that were given to me. Well,
No, they're true.
right
They're
ones,
true. They are free marketeers.
they are, but not the right ones, and not the ones that prevent you from going to jail.
According to whom?
Actually, I know a lot of successful business owners that started out dealing drugs.
I do too, but that's not the point. The point is,
You've got to
the ones
raise
who
your
are caught.
capital some way.
Yeah, exactly. Seed money. Okay, number 4. I do not follow my passion. I bring it with me. I believe that any job can be done with passion and enthusiasm.
10 out of 10.
Okay. Number 5. I deplore debt and do all I can to avoid it. I would rather live in a tent and eat beans than borrow money to pay for a lifestyle I cannot afford.
Did you say deplore?
Essentially oppose.
Yeah, deplore debt. Don't like debt.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm thinking this is starting to get where the mother was objecting.
I think it started right at the first part, though, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Number 6. I believe that my safety is my responsibility. I understand that being in compliance does not necessarily mean I'm out of danger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Number 7.
Don't have any disagreements.
Yeah. I believe the best way to distinguish myself at work is to show up early, stay late, and cheerfully volunteer for every crappy task there is.
Yeah, that's
You
how
have
you
point.
get ahead. That's like
Yeah.
rule number 1. Kiss
Yeah.
ass and do everything asked of you.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So we've got that's 7, 8. I believe the most annoying sounds in the world are whining and complaining. I will never make them.
Yes. Yes. As a parent
like it.
of 2 girls, I don't care if you guys disagree with that statement or not. He is
Okay.
absolutely correct.
That's only half the point. If I am unhappy,
Davy, that's not her reply. Davy said it's not written by a woman. Yeah, no, it's written by this guy, right? What's his
Yeah.
name?
yeah. That,
this is
Mike Rowe.
Yeah, this is the pledge that people have to sign.
Yeah.
The sweat pledge.
Yeah, the sweat pledge.
So that's half of point 8. The rest of point 8 is, if I am unhappy in my work, I will either find a new job or find a way to be happy.
I don't know. That sounds like effort.
I don't know. That sounds
work
like
is effort.
dedication.
But it is a,
That sounds like
That's-
adulting to me.
but
Yeah.
that's the thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Okay. Number 9. I believe that my education is my responsibility and absolutely critical to my success. I am resolved to learn as much as I can from whatever source is available to me. I will never stop learning and understand that library cards are free.
Ha! Oh, that's
The
great.
only part I have against that is library cards are not free.
They are in America.
They're not here.
And listen,
Oh, that sounds like another reason Canada sucks.
Just that one.
in all fairness,
Correct.
they're not free in the Netherlands either, but they're not expensive.
They are free in Britain.
They're not super expensive anyway.
Yeah, they're fairly cheap still here, but they're not free.
They're
No,
not
they're free here. Or at
Number
least
10.
mine is.
I believe that I am a product of my choices, not my circumstances. I will never blame anyone for my shortcomings or the challenges I face. And I will never accept the credit for something I didn't do.
Well, obviously, we can clearly see why millennials and
Their mothers.
warriors and their mothers are offended by this.
Yeah.
But that's,
Number 11.
oh, wait, sorry.
I understand the world is not fair, and I'm okay with that. I do not resent the success of others.
I actually like to be around people that have success. It's a little bit more empowering to you, and like I like to see people succeed.
And the last point, number 12. I believe that all people are created equal. I
Hell
also
no.
believe that all people make choices. Some choose to be lazy. Some choose to sleep in. I choose to work my butt off.
Nice.
Well, yeah.
And then it says, on my honour, I hereby affirm the above statements to be an accurate summation of my personal worldview. I promise to live by them. That's the pledge.
And therein lies the problem with, well, the social justice warriors. It's too bad I can't find the pledge myself as a clear thingy, so I could post it, share it.
You know what's cool about Mike Rowe is he lives in an apartment.
Yeah?
Yeah, he lives in an apartment, I think in Detroit or maybe California. I don't remember, but I've seen him do YouTube videos. It's an apartment. It's like a 2-bedroom apartment filled with crap. And he's
But,
got to be, he's either loaded or he has to be at least doing well for himself because he's
But
been
the-
on so much.
I'm pretty sure
There are
he's
quite a
both.
few entrepreneurs who kind of advise against buying houses and just renting instead because you're way more mobile, you know, for like changing jobs and just being like in the moment.
And in his line of work, that's probably what he does. But still, the fact remains is he doesn't live with a lot of baggage. He's a very modest man.
Well, chances are he probably actually owns the entire apartment building.
Probably built it.
And he probably pays rent for it as well.
I could actually see him paying rent.
Yeah, I could too.
If you do own your own house and you own a business, usually you do pay your own rent.
Yeah,
You and your
makes sense.
business are both rentals, and the house is owned by a corporation, an umbrella corp, or not umbrella, but the other one. Fuck. Never mind.
Okay, so do you want to resume with the mother Modwain?
Yes, please.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And I will go back to the sweat thingy as well, because it is funny. But we'll go through that one point by point. I found the text. Yay! Okay.
Well, just now that we have it, we can see just how absurd it is that she's objecting to these things.
Well, yeah,
Because
there is that.
for all we know, it could have been telling them that they need to wear short jean shorts and come to work in a tube top every day. That's all. I'm just saying. For all we know.
Exactly.
Which,
You need
in
the
all
context.
fairness,
What's the tube
you're
top?
also not allowed to do, especially not if you're a woman and you work, for example, let's say at the Formula One.
What is
So
a
now you
tube
can't
top?
work for the
It's another
Formula
phrase for a tank top.
Oh, okay.
But then with boobs.
And call it tank top.
But it's for
I think
women.
tank top has straps where a tube top doesn't.
But even if he would make ridiculous demands, he still has the right to do so.
He does have the right to do so, but it means that she has the right. It would put more fruit in her basket if she was objecting to it. Well, these were ridiculous.
Yeah,
Because then
okay.
you can make the comparison that it's basically a man dangling a bunch of cash on the end of a rope for anyone who's dumb enough to go and jump through it. Which
And,
that's
and it's not
that's
just that he's
destructive
giving
to
him a
his.
job.
It's
He's
destructive.
giving him a life lesson in how to succeed.
Yeah, he's giving him what his mother clearly didn't.
Well, it's not completely out there. I think this is pretty in line with the program he's making. So the same mentality.
No, it's completely fair to ask all of that, I feel.
Well, it is completely fair to ask, but in all fairness, even if it isn't fair to ask, you want my money, these are my stipulations.
Yeah, that's a black and white way of looking at it, but it's you want my money, these are my stipulations, but if I want you to suck my dick while you're lighting your ass on fire, Modwain,
Don't
you cannot say that it's my money, jump through my suit for it because it's not fair. That's pretty illegal.
Well,
No,
You can still
I don't-
say that.
I think that should be actually
Don't say
perfectly
that.
legal.
The thing is, it
I
becomes
do.
a
More
problem
pretty than illegal.
when you are forced to accept my money and accept what I ask of it. But I offer you something. These are the conditions on which I offer them. It's up to
Yeah.
you whether you agree with them or not.
yeah, there's no compulsion.
I know that's it, by the way. Anyway, let's continue. He wants to be a welder. I was appalled when he showed me your sweat pledge, the one that we just went through, and told me that signing it was required of all applicants. Why is that a problem? Where did you come up with this nonsense? You know what? Even if his pledges, I believe that lizard people rule the world and Mars will attack us next week, who gives a fuck?
Well, no one would be signing up for it if it was that.
No, they will sign up for it. They might not actually believe it.
It depends if they were obliged to stick by the standard of praying to the lizards every 5 hours.
It's 6.5.
Oh, sorry.
But anyway, let's. I'll look into your Twitter account in a moment, SquarePex. I can't find you, but that might be me failing. So anyway, let's continue with this one. And the incredible amount of how do you call it, entitlement.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Where to begin? Suffice it to say, we will not be applying. You know how many other people will not be applying? Well, just about most of the fucking world. Who cares?
We will not be applying.
Yeah.
So his mother is not into welding either.
I was unaware that this was Melania Trump writing to him. Like, I mean, at least that would say something. Not much, but it'd say something.
But how
This is
I mean, it's almost like you walk past a big shop, and in this shop they sell chocolate ice creams with pineapple flavor, and you hate pineapple. So you walk into the shop and you tell them, "I will not be buying your ice." Who fucking cares?
Well, look, man, there are people who argue whether pineapple belongs on pizza or not. I'm pretty sure someone would care.
Well, there are reasons people are put to death, and pineapple on pizza may be one of them. I know.
We found Modwain's in a totalitarian.
No, he's not a totalitarian. He's just right.
That's what they all say before starting the Reich.
Anyway, so here is his reply. Hi there, Karen. How is it going? If it's any consolation, you're not the only one to object to my sweat pledge, or do so with an over-reliance on exclamation points, which I find really funny.
I was reading through this. This is just a masterwork of this is just a middle finger with every word that's not a swear you could write. It's amazing.
I never understood why people needed more than one exclamation point.
Well, according to Terry Pratchett, the amount of exclamation marks is inverse to the person's sanity. So if you use more than 3, then you're definitely unhinged.
Well, I'm fucked.
Anyway, over the years, it has been my sad duty to inform lots of angry parents that this particular pile of free money might not be for them.
I love that.
But
beautifully put.
Amazing.
Amazing. This is.
I told you, it is a masterwork.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I have to admit that Mike Rowe, I had respect for him. I didn't really care much for him, don't get me wrong, but I had respect for him for the way he worked. And I have seen his show several times. But seeing this, to be clear, I wish your son every success, sincerely. Opportunities in welding have never been better, and people are hiring certified welders all over the country. But to be clear, I have absolutely no interest in paying for his training if he doesn't share my opinions or the importance of hard work.
I love it.
A positive attitude, delayed gratification, and personal responsibility. These are basically what he's saying. I'm not willing to pay for your son's education if he can't be a fucking adult. Because that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I work in mental health care. I'm teaching kids the importance of delayed gratification. And they have no problem with it. And here is a fully grown woman who has to contest it. It's in a way, I mean, he responded gracefully. Definitely gracefully. Way more grace than I would have.
It reminds me of the Irish hotel owner who had that London lifestyle person try and get free boarding out of him.
Yeah.
Wait, was that
Yeah.
that chick who wanted the free hotel or whatever?
Yeah,
Yes.
And then they banned
he
all
did,
the
he did a Facebook post like
That was
like this.
delicious.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was really good. But this is the problem we are facing in our Western world. People, they don't have morals anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care. No, I have morals. I have strong standings, but as long as they're mine, and as long as they suit me, because as soon as they don't, well, obviously I can, put them aside. But yeah, I have strong convictions. But as soon as you prove me that this will actually forces me to do something extra, no, there are no convictions. Anyway, sorry. I made a promise to the people who contributed to this fund. I can't bend the rules. Fortunately, lots of scholarship funds will hand out money with no strings attached if you poke around. I'm sure you'll find one that's more in line with your worldview.
Hell, we have scholarships in this country to give to people with left hands. We have scholarships in this country to give if you're bald. We have scholarships in this country for anything.
Unless
think
you're
we
white,
have a-
male, and normal.
Nope,
Well,
we still
yeah.
have, we even have those thanks to that gay guy
No,
who
no.
used to call Trump daddy. We even have those.
Well, you have them now because you didn't have them.
Well, sports
You know that-
scholarships do go to white people too.
They can,
They do.
but not often.
Not often, but they do have white people in the NFL.
Okay.
Both of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. People sending me messages that SquarePack gave me her Twitter handle. I believe it. I'm not looking into that right now because I kind of want to do this.
Yeah, she said she's very noisy where she is.
Sorry.
She said she didn't want to join in because it's too noisy.
I know. I wanted to send her a Twitter message anyway, but that'll have to wait. I'm sorry. Damn it! Train of thought derailed.
Well, let's re-rail that shit.
Yeah.
Fortunately, lots of scholarship funds will hand out money with no strings attached.
True that. I came up with this nonsense about the same time I launched Micro Works back in 2008. I was looking for a way to encapsulate the qualities I value most in a document that would become part of the application progress. What I settled on was Sweat Pledge. It stands for skill and work and ethic. Skill and work and ethic aren't taboo. Mostly it's a collection of beliefs that I think every worker should benefit from or would benefit from. And I'm going to put them back up again. So if I'm going to go by them point by point, and feel free to tell me when I'm right.
You actually might want to wait a sec because he goes point by point in a minute in the next paragraph.
Does he?
Yeah, he does.
I should have prepared better, shouldn't I?
It's okay. Americans prepare better than the.
But he doesn't do all of them. I mean, basically, he basically. Never mind.
No, he doesn't do all of them, but he does address some of them, and then we can go back afterwards.
That is true. Now, you didn't mention what specific parts of the pledge you find most objectionable, and obviously they won't, because that's the thing. If you talk to people with an extreme left-wing view, you will always find that they disagree with whatever you put out. But they will never be able to make that point themselves. You will never be able to tie them down to anything they stand for. This is, for example, when I look at Louder with Crowder, he does these debate me thingies.
You mean where you're sitting outside?
Change my mind.
Yeah, the change my mind stuff.
Yeah. He's always, and when someone says something ambiguous, he tries to tie them down by saying, okay, what do you mean when you say this? What do you mean when you say that? And by doing this alone, by just doing this, he often destroys their argument. Because they don't really have a fixed stance. Yeah, I'm against violence, therefore the police should have all the guns. But there is violence without guns.
Well, they don't have a fixed perspective because they don't have a perspective. They have a line in their head that they're going to repeat because it sounds right. And it's from someone they respect.
Well, or someone they listen to. Respect might be a big word because often they don't even know where it's coming from.
They don't even know what respect is.
Well, that too. But you know what? Let's continue because I'm rambling now, and that's
my job.
I beat you to it this time. Yay! Anyway, where were I? Specifically.
Now, you don't mention which specific parts of the pledge you find most objectionable.
Yeah, go on, continue.
But I'd be curious to know, usually I hear complaints about the patriotic undertones of points 1 and 2, the parsimonious vibes of number 5, and the paternalistic feel of number 8. Many have accused me of writing a conservative manifesto, but honestly, I don't see anything in this pledge that's inherently political. In fact, I'd say most of these statements are in line with classic liberal thought. I would agree.
Yeah, me too.
I don't really see how I don't really see the point of making it a conservative, or how you could call it a conservative manifesto, unless you consider hard work and personal ethic conservative talking points.
And they do.
And they do. That's the point.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There you go. Trying to make sense of those who have no points at all.
Stop making sense.
I can't help it. I'm like hardwired to make sense of a situation, and this situation doesn't make any sense to me.
That's why postmodernism is so dangerous.
I'd say I'd close to blue screening, but unlike Mark Zuckerberg, I am not a robot.
Okay, let's continue. Your reading voice is better than mine, so would you please?
Oh, sure. I have always been told my pledge is weighted heavily in favor of employers who are really just looking for more and more ways to abuse their workers. I don't see it that way, but I can understand why some do. Well, I can too, because you have no personal work ethic of your own.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's very popular these days to portray all employers as the enemy, and hard work is the reason for individual unhappiness. I reject that out of hand, just as I reject the idea that the
I think
can
it
you move
means
your cursor?
ethic.
Is
Ethic.
ethic. Can you move your cursor?
D instead of C.
Sorry.
Ah, okay. And now I've lost my space. Over there. Okay. The ethic of an individual worker has anything to do with their race or gender. Personally, most of the successful employers I know started out as employees who would have enthusiastically agreed with every statement in this pledge. But again, that doesn't mean you're wrong to disagree. It just means your current objections, while welcome, are not very persuasive. Yeah, they are.
Not at all. But that's the thing, though, and somehow we have lost the ability to debate, and argue people like this.
Oh, yeah?
They somehow feel that they are entitled, and you are wrong.
Well, you can't debate someone who doesn't want to debate. And that mindset of entitlement kind of prevents you from ever feeling like you wouldn't be wrong, or your position isn't right, or what you want or what your objectives are wrong. So there'd be no reason for you to debate these positions, because as far as you're concerned, you're 100% right, and God is the only thing giving you direction, quote unquote.
Can I say, it sounds like he's trying to turn little boys into real strong men.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
I-
beautiful.
All girls.
Yes,
Well-
I would have to go one further. I would say he would try to put the idea in people, whether they are boys or girls, that they may start as children, but in the end they're supposed to be mature. They're supposed to be adults.
They're supposed to be ready to take on the world.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
going to put this on the
It's
line.
quite lovely. I really respect him.
Yeah, he's doing a great job with this.
Yeah, I told you, this is a masterwork response.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall I continue?
Yeah, by all means.
Finally, it might amuse you, but probably not, to learn that I've raised tens of thousands of dollars for scholarships by selling sweat pledges. Thousands now hang in schools, factories, construction sites, and cubicles across the country. If you'd like one for yourself, we sell autograph versions for $12 or $100 if you'd like it personalized. I'd be happy to send you one for free, however, just to prove there are no hard feelings. Let me know.
But I'm going to bet you if he does, it's going to be personalized.
Oh yeah, he's
And
gonna
signed.
he's gonna type it up on himself. It's gonna be on his own personal notary or his own personal stationery. He's gonna sign it.
Alright.
Yeah.
And I hope it's
Don't have
welded
to
to
be an
something.
idiot. Good boy.
As for the rest of you, we're now accepting applications for this year's round of work ethic scholarships. We've raised $500,000 for this year's allotment, and I look forward to giving away every penny to those who wish to master a skill that's in demand and sign the sweat pledge. Apply here. Thanks, Mike. P.S. If this sounds familiar, it's because I posted the same letter a year ago this month. I'm reposting it now because I'm awash with similar comments. In other words, if history can repeat itself, why can't I?
Well, there is that. And I'm
It's
not
so
going
good.
to look at the different responses people put on his how do you call it, Facebook page, because well, we agree, we might not agree, but that's not the point, because let's bring up the sweat pledge again.
And now we can go over it.
And now we can go over it again. Thank you for reading it the first time, by the way, John, and thank you for reading the last bit of that.
Nobody.
I don't want to call you nobody, mate. I don't
It's
like
cool.
calling you nobody. You are smart. You are definitely talented. Anyway,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
but
It means a lot.
it's true. I mean, I'm not a big YouTuber, and I know you are not. But yeah, it's unfair. People should listen more to us.
Yeah, well,
Wine.
that's what we're here for. We can talk to each other.
That is true. Okay, so let's go back to the sweat pledge. I believe that I have won the greatest lottery of life. I'm alive. I walk on the earth. I live in America. Above all things, I'm grateful. This whole thing can be condensed to 3 words.
I'm alive.
I'm grateful.
Pretty
Because
much.
in all fairness, I'm not born in America. I'm not
Oh.
grateful to be born in America. I don't care to be born in America. Hell, I don't even want to move to America.
I don't blame you.
And it's not that this place is so much better, to be honest, but hey. But
America's great. Come on. America's great.
It's a
Again.
bit, Alicia.
Alicia, at the moment, America is greating. That's not the same.
Oh, no. Come on. Our government is separate from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
wish
that's
we
the-
could say that.
That's what Chinese
Translate them.
people say. That they feel separate. Oh, and the baby bellows.
Well, but be that as it may, I mean, people feel pride for their own country, and they should. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as you're not in Britain. If you feel pride in your country, they tend to be kind of antsy about that.
Well, I posted a video and they didn't actually kill me yet. I'm not under arrest.
Well, when you are, let me know. I'll hire a lawyer for you.
Won't do any good. The judge will just override everything we say and say, no, I tell you what you think.
Well, at least I'll be able to try.
Buy a pump.
That's the worst part of the whole Count Dankula thing. It's not what you did, it's what the court can decide.
Yeah, exactly. By far the worst part.
That's by far the worst. People don't seem to be picking up on that, which is
Yeah,
amazing, really.
not really. They
You know-
chose their victim very, very wisely.
Thank God Mike's not in Britain. Otherwise, he'd be on trial for this.
Probably, yes. Indeed. Anyway, so yeah, basically, can we all agree that point 1 is I'm grateful?
Not a problem.
Yeah, it's got patriotic undertones because he's American, but beyond that, the idea is very sound.
Yeah.
Well,
Be grateful.
It
Well,
also
is it-
reflects Dawkins, who expresses the same just principle, and not grateful, but I'm lucky, because the possibility of any one of us being born at all is so infinitesimally small that just revel in the fact that we exist.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's pretty
like I think it's got spiritual undertones, I would say.
Yeah,
Not patriotic, because grateful, what you're grateful to, that's a spiritual concept, I would say.
True that. I can agree to that too. But so yeah, we agree. Point 1 is I am grateful. I believe that I'm entitled to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, nothing more. I understand that happiness and the pursuit of happiness are not the same thing. This is a little bit harder to.
Yeah, this is a bit Americana.
no, but you understand the point,
I'm
surely.
not saying, yes, I do. It's not. I don't think it's Americana though, because I think this is true for each and every one of us. We are entitled to our happiness. Even in Europe, on average, we are entitled to our pursuit of happiness. It might not be defended as it is in America, but we are entitled to it. So I'm thinking,
Entitled to be.
sorry, go on, mate. You wanted to say something.
Well, the pursuit of happiness can be a very broad thing. So
I think that there's some wisdom in there anyway. You're not entitled to happiness because this is not something that anybody
Yeah.
from the outside can and should provide to you. That's something you have to provide for yourself by your
Yeah,
actions, you know. It's not something
that's
that's
what I
being
thought.
done to you. If happiness is something that's being done to you, then you're probably a princess or something. But you're not really worth, like, not very adept at living.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You are allowed to pursue happiness.
Yeah.
You're not allowed. You're allowed to become happy, but no one is. How do you call it? Obligated to make you happy.
Yeah.
Or put it another way, shit happens. Get used to it.
Oh yeah. There we
Life's
go.
not fair.
Yeah,
There we go.
life's not fair. Get over it. Shit happens. Get over it.
I believe there is no such thing as a bad job. I believe that all jobs are opportunities, and it's up to me to make the best of them.
I believe Mike Rowe has never worked as a prostitute for Harvey Weinstein, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Hey, listen.
could be worse. You could be working for Walmart. So
Keep
Oh, it could be worse. You could not have a job and be kicked out of your house. Better to clean a porta potty than be homeless on the street, right?
Hey, it could be
your-
worse than that. You could be Anita Sarkeesian.
keep your eyes on the prize. Whatever you do, whether you blow Weinstein or clean toilets, keep your eyes on the prize.
Raven, that's not
yeah,
a prize
yeah.
that I'd want my eyes on.
But think about how much money they made for doing nothing. Like seriously, what did they have to do? Put up with a minute of that gross, disgusting guy? And they get all this money?
Yeah, to get
It's
like
just one hand.
an A-list.
it's just
Job.
one hand job. So
But in all fairness, I believe there is no such thing as a bad job. There are jobs that I would rather not do, but the question is not whether I want to do a job. The question is whether I need to do a job. If I need to do a job, then so be it. I don't understand the attitude people tend to have towards, yeah, but I don't like the job. That's okay, then find another one. And if you don't have another one, do this one. Because indeed, you need a job, you need your own income to continue your life, which is kind of funny because, yeah, if you want to pursue happiness, you need an income.
There's no doubt about that.
Sorry? I didn't quite hear what you said.
To who?
There's no doubt about that.
There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were talking to me.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue. I do not follow my passion, I bring it with me. I believe that my job can be done with passion and enthusiasm. Basically, what he's saying is, or at least this is how I'm reading it, I have a positive attitude. Anyone want to correct me on that?
Honestly, the only thing that I could really see on that is I do not follow my passion, is I don't put my hopes and dreams in something that's not going to pan out. I make happiness in my everyday life.
Yeah. Happiness is based on what I do, not on what I hope.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. So far, I know snowflakes will be very upset by this, but I don't see any problem here.
Yeah, I don't either. And I've actually had a situation where I've placed my hopes and dreams in a passion of mine, and that didn't play out very well. Life smacked me pretty hard.
Yeah. Well,
Really fucking hard.
What was that?
Oh, I was in a band with a friend of mine, and my best friend hung himself. So that didn't play out that well.
That's never a good
That's
idea.
pretty terrible.
Yeah, it is pretty terrible, but that was 4 years ago, and I've made peace with it. But the point is life never works out the way you plan it to. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if everything seems great one day, because tomorrow life can hand you the card, or life can deal you the cards that will make you fold real quick.
I think it was John Lennon that said, life's what happens when you're busy making other plans. Which, personally, I really, really appreciate. I deplore debt, and I do all I can to avoid it. I would rather live in a tent and eat beans than borrow money to pay for a lifestyle I can't afford. This one I like, but I have to nuance. It depends on what you're borrowing money for, I guess.
Well, yeah,
That's true.
but honestly, I think the nuance is kind of implied because he says, I deplore debt and do all I can to avoid it, not I will avoid it at all costs, no matter what. Because the general rule is that you will incur debt at some point in your life.
If you buy a home.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You will incur debt at some point, and I think the mindset behind this is if you're in debt, make it your priority to get out of debt.
And have reasonable understanding of your current situation, and don't go.
Yeah, don't be stupid with your money.
Yeah.
Like if you have $400 a month that you can live off of, don't spend $300 on your social life and $100 on food.
Well, here's the question: why is it of interest to the employer? Because that's basically like the role he takes, right? That why is it for me as an employer? Is it important that my employees don't have debts? I think there's some deep wisdom.
Attitude of mind.
It really is attitude of mind. It's are you willing to be complacent in the lifestyle you've chosen, or are you willing to better yourself and try to make your life better? If you have an employee complacent in the amount of debt he has and doesn't try to pay it off, would you really want him hired over someone who's actively trying to better their life?
Yeah, I think there's more to it. I think it's also that if you're in debt, then you don't work for a price. You work for paying off your debt, for not being a slave anymore, and that will make you resentful against the work. So you don't work for something that you win. You work like a prisoner. But if you're out of debt, then you work to win something. You understand? You don't work to free yourself, so you don't feel like it's a punishment.
No, you work because you want to.
And because you win something, you want to add value. You don't want to just free yourself, but you want to actually better yourself.
And this is the problem with higher education and student debt, because kids come out to college now, they've never worked a day in their life, they've never earned a penny, and they're in all this debt, and then they're living for decades
and hate their jobs. Then, but that's the thing. Like you will hate your life when you just constantly pay off debts and you just work for the bank. Basically, it's like it's terrible.
That's possible. Well, I do know this though. Back in the days, I used to work for the government. I used to work in a prison system in the Netherlands. Being in debt was definitely part of how they scrutinize you. You're allowed to have some debts.
Yeah, but that's about leverage, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you should. I mean, I have a debt. I bought a house. For that, I have a mortgage, which is a debt. This debt is acceptable because I pay every month for my mortgage, just as I would pay every month to rent a flat. So this is acceptable, but I should not compromise myself.
Yeah.
So my debt should be within reasonable limits.
Yeah, but I don't know about you guys, but during my study, I also had a small job at the side. So it's also to minimize your debt, I suppose. Do whatever you can.
Pay for some of your own classes out of pocket.
Exactly.
That's what my dad did.
But I mean, if we look at education now, the prices of education are so incredibly high, whereas blue-collar education isn't. It's amazing that people still go into higher education as often as they do.
Which is funny because the value of a degree is getting less and less worth going for. Well, I guess what I'm going to say is everyone's going for one, which means the high school degree is basically useless now.
Yeah.
But at that same point, getting a regular degree is basically just as useless because it doesn't really have anything applicable to it. You know, I can't even get a job at McDonald's with a college degree now.
Well, it depends which college degree you have.
Hey, I just got back and I stopped listening for a bit. On degrees? Although I'm just chiming in. On degrees, I'll give you an example. So I'm coming out of school for business, right? Business and marketing.
Mhm.
Well, I got a call back because I'm looking for work. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, no, it's a perfect marketing job for somebody just getting out of school. I'm like, oh, awesome. Marketing, that sounds like fun. It was door-to-door sales.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you
of
go.
course.
And he's like, well, we have a script for you. Everything else. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this will be a good fit.
Yeah, this is not.
I'm thousands of dollars in debt for school now. Not
But
to
at the-
do something a 16-year-old normally does.
But at the same time, mate, if you have nothing, it's always better.
Well, no, I got
Not really.
experience otherwise too. But then he goes on and he starts saying his wage. He's like, it's $15 an hour. It's like, really?
That's like $5 an hour plus commission.
Well, no, it's $15 an hour plus a commission, but it's like that's the same wage as McDonald's.
That's the same wage as your McDonald's here. Your McDonald's. We don't even get that at McDonald's. Our wage is like $7 an hour.
Yeah, they're Canadian dollars.
Oh.
In Utah, our fast food workers make $14 an hour.
That's fucking nuts.
Well, no, it's not. How much do you pay for rent, Rambling?
Like $400 a month.
Yeah, you can get a cardboard box for $400 a month, maybe. Like,
Depending on where you live.
$1,000 more a month in rent than you do. Plus, I have utilities on top of that.
Now, this is a nice topic for another time. But in all fairness, if you cannot afford to rent a house in the area you're working, minimum wages will make it worse.
Yes.
Because minimum wages are the driving factor behind inflation, and inflation is a driving factor on why rents are going up. So minimum wages are not a good idea.
Well, what's funny about minimum wage and why I think it should actually be abolished is it's always brought into this thing to help the poor.
Which it doesn't.
But in reality, minimum wage
richer.
minimum wage is the worst thing that can ever be there for the poor.
Yeah,
Do you remember? Did you see the thing that these actresses drawn up? This what was it? They were protesting against minimum wages for waitresses, and they said it's a bad system. Yeah, that they have. No, they hadn't. They said first of all they said they had no minimum wage, and that the minimum wage should be raised for them, and that tips should be abolished, basically.
Okay,
there was a huge letter written by lots of waitresses that said that they would basically be a lot less off if they just got minimum wage, because they earn a ton of money with tips, and it's merit based.
In America, tipping, you don't get paid as much as minimum wage if you work as a waitress or waiter, but you get to write your tips off as tax returns or
tax deduction.
Yeah, tax deduction. So, yeah.
All you have to do is the math to figure out how, that waitress sings good fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a great personality.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the personality that sells waitress. It's the same thing for bartending, which I used to do a little bit of too. Your personality is what sells it, but obviously the personality is something you want to tailor to the environment that you're in.
Well, for men it's personality. For women it can also be something else.
Actually,
2 of them.
For bartenders,
2 of them. That's a huge deal for.
Yeah, it could be 2 things, but I'll tell you this much: when I was working in a bar, the hottest chick in the fucking room could not make drinks for the life of her, and she made nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and I'll be honest.
That was a bar, was it?
I always tip based off performance. Like performance.
I heard hot bartender.
It's always been performance for me.
What? Wait.
What?
What did I miss? I heard hot bartender.
Oh, we're talking personalities.
Yeah, we're talking about personalities. I used to work in a bar, and there was this chick who was a bartender there, and she was drop dead gorgeous, right? But she couldn't mix drinks for the life of her. And she didn't take home anything in terms of tips. She made jack shit.
Oh, I agree. I made bank as a bartender, but it was because I was the fastest. I didn't even need a bar back.
Fastest, you need performance. You need to be able to. Best thing is free pouring.
It's all
If you
about
pour-
attitude.
If you pour in front of them, you give them a show, they go nuts.
Oh yeah. I remember working in a bar. I remember working in a bar with two female colleagues, and normally we had a tip jar, and all the tips would go into one tip jar, and then at the end of the day we would split it.
You guys pulled your tips?
No.
I disagree with that.
Happens.
No, I'm very much in favor of it, because in the bars that I work with, we also have people doing other stuff, and they don't get tips, but they make it so that the bar is the way it is. Therefore, they should share in the tips as well.
I'm open to sharing tips as long as I like the people I'm working with. That's pretty much my thing. I'll ask.
Hold on. Because let me finish my story, because this is really funny, or at least I found it. Shit. So I was working with two female bartenders, and I was the only male bartender. And somehow, I don't know why, and we used to have this a joke, because do you guys know the show Charlie's Angels?
Yeah.
Yep.
They were my angels, apparently.
Modwain's Angels.
Well, I didn't go by the name Modwain in the bar, but
oh, I'm sorry, Santa's Angels.
Santa's Angels as well. Anyway, but somehow they got this streak of competitiveness to find out who made the most tips. Mm-hmm. And so for one night we decided to have 3 tip jars. One for both of the women, and then obviously one for mine, because unfortunately they were competing, therefore I needed to keep my tips apart as well. Mm-hmm. At the end of the night, we counted the tips. And it was funny to see when they started to count their own tips. I didn't even start to count my tips because I didn't care. Because in the end, it will all be put together and it will be shared out and whatever. And one of them had an X amount, let's say it's 10. And the other one had an X amount, let's say it was 15. So they were both, one was obviously a bit pissed that the other one did better. But they were both pretty,
content.
I made 10. Content, I made 10. Well, I made 15. Well. then they checked my tip jar.
And they were disgusted.
I made 30. I made almost, well, not almost twice as much. I made twice as much as the winner, and I made more of them than the both of them combined.
Bet you made better drinks too.
Yeah, no,
maybe you were just faster, were you?
Like I was saying, through my experience, I tip. Usually, men do a better job, and I tip them more.
All of the above, probably.
You're just sexist.
But that was really funny because they were.
Fuck you that men do better at serving.
I'm a bartender. I'm not a server.
Well, no, even for servers. I find
there servers in our place, by the way.
I'd say men just make bigger drinks, is it? No. I don't
know.
No,
it has nothing
I did throw around with stuff, if I had for example, an ice cube, I would throw the ice cube behind my back, over my shoulder, and catch it in the glass in front of me.
It's showmanship, all right.
Yeah, that's true, but it was kind of funny because they were sure that, well, I mean, obviously they would get more tips than me, but which one of the two would get more? And they were absolutely chuffed. They were really pleased. Oh, well, I made 10. Oh, I made 15. And they really thought they made a lot. I truly did not care. So I didn't count. But after that was counted, we already knew how much the two of them had. Then all the tips were combined so that we can share it out with everyone. That's how I learned that I made more than the both of them combined, which was so very, very, very pleasing.
Man,
anyway,
I just mostly made all my tips by being able to carry on conversations about rock bands from the 70s.
Well, that helps too. That helps too. All of it works. Let's continue with the article, though.
Oh.
yeah.
No, not
Okay.
the article, the sweat thing. Because the next point I find very important, and it should be a main goal for everyone working. I believe that my safety is my responsibility. I understand that being in compliance does not necessarily mean I'm out of danger. This is a very important one. I can't imagine that. Sorry. Oh, there you go. This is a very important one. I can't believe that not more people recognize this.
I can.
It's written into law in Canada.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
I would-
not here.
I've worked in places where they actually, in the bathrooms, they'll have a little sign and it says, you are looking on the mirrors, you are looking at the person responsible for your safety.
Yeah, we don't have those here.
Don't
As
you have
far
a
as-
right to refuse? Nobody?
Huh? Right to refuse?
Yeah.
I think.
Doesn't work for vampires anyway.
Mostly what I know is that if it's not your responsibility for your own safety, it's the company's responsibility or the business's responsibility. Wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing, unless it's at your house or it is ostensibly your fault, it's not your responsibility because you can file a lawsuit and win. We have an entire culture of that built up around here.
I can imagine.
It's only been recently that it was passed through law that it is our responsibility now. And how that came up was the right to refuse. Now, the right to refuse was a good starting point. But what ended up happening is you had people actually breaking systems and kind of profiting off of being idiots.
Yeah.
So now what it is you have a legal obligation to refuse unsafe work. And if you do not refuse unsafe work, you are also liable as well as the company for any injuries.
Yeah, but the company also has a responsibility to provide you with the right materials and the right glasses and stuff.
And
that-
So there is a big back and forth going.
Yeah,
no,
Forth.
we buy our own safety equipment usually here.
Not here. It's usually provided
But
9 times out of 10.
Even if it's provided, I remember when I was 16 years old, I had a holiday job as I can't remember the name, buizenpikker. Basically, I worked at Van Leeuwen Buizen, which is a huge company that makes used pipes, mostly metal pipes. And basically, there's a crane driving around, and there's two guys with a hook, and I put it on one side, and someone else puts it at the other side, and then the pipe is being lifted up. They are huge. They're like truck sizes. Rule number one is you are responsible for your own safety. So you never stand in a place where you could be in danger. So you're always on the edges of the pipes, for example. Never next to the pipes because other pipes may roll away and you get crushed. Simple as that. Then
But they
when
they
are
give you
hooked-
some.
No, let me
Don't they
finish.
give you some advice on where it might be safe or what kind of
They give you plenty of
things?
advice, but sometimes they tell you to do something else because it's easier for whomever pulls in the pipe. For example, when you put one hook at one side and one hook on the other side, then the crane lifts it up a little bit. Not a lot. It's and still, but they will put they remove the slack from the cable. At this point in time, the pipe should still be laying down, but you have a time to walk away because the hook will not come loose or should not come loose. But if it does come loose, you don't want to be close by. But sometimes something happens, and then there's how do you call them, foremans that will tell you to stand in places which are actually dangerous,
Unsafe. Yeah.
unsafe. If you do that and something happens, you are still responsible because it's your choice to stand there. Now you could say, well, I can charge the company. I can,
Told.
even in the Netherlands, you can complain about the company and about the foreman, and you might actually win, but you'll still be in the hospital or. So responsibility of your safety is always you. And I can't understand that there are people who actually need remembrance of this.
Especially in big companies and multinationals, they have a great deal in health, safety, and environment. They have this big, how do we call it, offices who are thinking and creating how you can work more safely. So in this example you are giving, you can't stand near it, but if it comes to a court, they also investigate if the company has given the right directions, that the company has been clear you can't stand there. So there's also two sides on it.
You have to make like some sort of a safety course.
But
there has to be some kind of how do you call it, a safety environment.
Health and safety course,
yeah. There has to be something in place.
True that, but even then, responsibility always rests with you.
I agree.
I mean, I've worked at several chemical plants in the Netherlands. There are plenty of rules that we need to abide by, etc., etc., etc. But in the end, safety begins and ends with you.
At home.
Well, yeah, that too. No, but actually, I worked at one plant, DuPont, in the Netherlands, and they will fire you. Literally, they will fire you if they see you walking off down the stairs whilst not holding the railing, even in the office building.
Well,
yes.
You know what? I'm not against that.
No, neither am I.
I can actually show, like, all the safety stuff. We all say that it's kind of gone a little bit overboard the past few years. I like to say that it has too, but what I can actually point out to for, like, safety getting drummed in your head, procedures getting drummed in your head, you do it enough and it does come home. And I can point that out with the Fort McMurray fires a couple years ago, where they evacuated an entire city of 88,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And now, granted, it's not a normal city. It is literally a city in the middle of the bush with two roads, or one road in, one road out.
Christ.
But everybody in that city works in a very industrial environment. Like it's oil town.
Mm-hmm.
They evacuated 88,000 people. I believe 20% of the city burnt to the ground. There wasn't a single building undamaged. And they did this all, like, the evacuation took place over just a couple hours. There's less than 8 hours of evacuation. Not a single injury. Let alone death.
Yeah, because that's, people remember that they are responsible themselves and they listen to advice given or directions given. That's the safest way to go.
Well,
That's insane.
And also they create a culture where you can point out to your colleagues that they are working unsafe or something like that. Yeah. So you, when you sign the contract, you are obligated to also inform and to inform other colleagues if they're doing it right or wrong.
Yeah, Cheesehead's got it right there with the one word. They created a culture, a safety culture.
Yes, but that's how they call it themselves. So.
Safety culture.
I've also worked for oil companies, so I get where you're going at, Father Nut.
Yeah, no, like you don't. I think that's one of the only places where you can actually take your own personal thought on a subject and put it to real world applications on a mass evacuation and what we're taught in oil field.
Yeah, and especially in those oil and chemical plants, if your colleagues fucks up, it's also your ass. So
it's your ass for not telling on them.
Yeah, that's one part. But at the other side, if he screws up and everything blows up, or we have a big fire, you're also in the danger. So that there's a little bit, rational points to that. It makes sense.
Anyway,
sounds like it does.
let's continue. Because on this one, I assume we all agree. Actually, we seem to all agree. I believe the best way to distinguish myself at work is to show up late. Oh, sorry.
That's a pretty damn good way to distinguish yourself too.
Everybody remembers your name.
I want that job.
We know how Modwain's work ethic stands.
Oh my.
I just adapt.
Someone send this to his employer.
Well, I work in healthcare, mate. I never get home early.
Nice. He shows up when he wants.
I wish that were true. But no, I stand. Anyway, I believe the best way to distinguish myself at work is to show up early, stay late, and cheerfully volunteer for every crappy task there is.
Well, I mean, you could also distinguish yourself by showing up naked and streaking through the hallway saying, "My soul, my foreskin to Cthulhu." But, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. One of these is a good choice. One of these isn't. Which, take your pick.
Well,
And then you shout.
Either way.
And then you
Just
shout.
that real world this to you, nobody. Your idea would distinguish yourself, like in an oil field. It's not the same. Like, you wouldn't get fired for doing that. You'd get laughed at, and you'd probably get known for that.
Yeah, I guarantee I'd get known for that. I'd be
You
the
just
fat
wouldn't get
white guy
promoted
running
for
down.
that.
I'd be the fat white guy running down the road screaming about H.P. Lovecraft. I guarantee you 40% of those guys don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
They start nagging. You are not wearing your white lab coat. Something like that.
Listen.
As long as you got the proper PPE on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You can run around naked if you want, as long as you have the right boots,
Hard hat.
the right gloves, and a good hard hat.
And you're holding your scissors by the blade.
Actually, I can point this one out.
You can't run around with scissors no matter how you want.
And then you scream, "I'm a liberated woman."
I'm a liberated woman.
That's the Netherlands where you can't even run with scissors.
I'm a liberated Cthulhu.
Modwain, I can actually point this one out from an example yesterday. Yesterday, I had a job interview. Job interview was at 10. Cool. I show up at 9:45. I'm dressed in nice dress pants, fucking some loafers, and a shirt. I walk into this place right behind somebody else at 9:45. The guy comes out. He's like, "Oh, you guys are here for interviews?" Found out we're interviewing for the same job. The other guy's interview was at 9:45. That's when he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
On the way out, the person that interviewed us told the other guy, "Well, if you don't hear from us by Friday, give me a call." And then on my way out, the same interviewer, "If you don't hear from me Thursday, make sure you give me a call. But I'm probably going to give you a call back tomorrow."
That's good.
15 minutes makes a whole world of difference, whether you're going in for an interview or putting your woman in bed.
Well, I work in sales too, and one of the first rules outside sales is never be late.
Yeah. And
Doesn't matter if you're justified.
No, and being on time means being early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Except in Ireland.
Real fast, because what Crusader Soul said in the chat, even though you have safety precautions, you can still have accidents. One of the main reasons to have safety precautions is to make the accidents as less dangerous as they can be. Unfortunately, Crusader Soul is going to bed, so sleep well, mate. I wanted to bring it up, but maybe next time.
Peace.
Yeah, Crusader's got a good point. Most safety protocols are written in blood, so.
Yeah. And it still can go wrong, but the thing is, we would always thought that an accident is a chain of events. And the longer that chain runs, the bigger the accident.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I use the word accident but I don't believe that there is an accident. Like, I don't believe accidents exist.
So then, I guess changing all those diapers when you were raising your kids when they were babies, those weren't accidents then, were they?
No, they were.
Well, then you just said accidents don't exist.
No,
So
I know what you're
contradict
saying.
yourself.
I know what you're saying.
No, I didn't. I just said they weren't accidents. I'm pretty
I thought
sure
you said
that
they were.
I'm pretty sure that my children knew that they were shit in their pants. They just didn't know any better.
Well, I think there's an age when you can
Fair enough.
control the muscles with your mind, but I think there is an age
And then there's the later
before
age
that.
when you can no longer do it anymore.
There is no age where you can no
Can
longer
I say something about work accidents? Because that's how my brother died. So I'd like to kind of say something about it.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear about your brother, by the way.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry as well.
He was a young man. He was only 22, but at least he was old enough to marry the love of his life before he died. So
Aw.
this was, you guys, this is like 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked at a restaurant, right? Outback, ironically, which is funny because, you know, Australia. And they like to use pressure cookers to cook the steaks. And my brother was a really hard worker. He was a high school dropout, but he managed to work his way up to management because he was such a hard worker. There was this rumbling in the pressure cooker, and all the cooks were surrounding and all the young people. And my brother, being the manager, ran in, screamed at all of them to get the F back, pushed them back as the pressure cooker exploded.
Oh my
It
god.
punched into his head and punched through the roof and broke through that. And he fell back. They rushed him to the hospital. So he was a hero. He saved everybody by, you know, stepping up and everything. But because of the way that laws are written to protect businesses, in Utah, you have to have like this weird insurance crap for businesses that to repair my brother was more expensive than to let him die. And so he slowly died over the next year from the injuries that he sustained at work because the work didn't provide a safe space. So, I mean, I think, you know, there's a fine line between taking responsibility for your own safety and then also having, you know, situations where it's just dangerous.
Well, no, you are right. It is a collaborative effort, but and I am sorry to hear about your brother.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Like
That
putting
must have
something
been
like that puts
that
you
a-
off the edge, but
I will say your brother probably has the biggest balls I've ever heard of.
yeah, pressure cookers, you don't fuck around with those.
Was it
No,
like
just
a
the fact
big-
that he ran
huge-
into it instead of running away. That
Yeah.
is a hero.
that must have been some big pressure cooker if it went to the roof. Wow.
Yeah.
The energy.
Like
Crazy.
after he died, they had to change everything and they couldn't use it anymore.
Jesus Christ.
So,
Well, I'd hope not.
Sickening.
but that's the thing is, I think our generation, let's all be honest, I think we're kind of spoiled because I think that we don't understand how dangerous it used to be, and we don't understand what it takes to get corporations or companies or business owners that are unethical to be more ethical.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yes. What generation are you in?
Well, I'm Gen X. I'm 42.
Because I'll be honest, I'm 6 years younger than you. And I remember when I started out, it was a completely different, like when we talked about workplace safety, it was a completely different ballgame than what it is now. Like when I started out, it was the rig needs this. We are not going to tell you to speed, but if you happen to get a couple tickets, just bring them back and we'll pay for them.
Oh, that's
Like
nice.
now, that's not ever going to happen.
No.
The same as if you got lost, you just follow the beer cans to the next rig.
Man,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like different states and different countries and different, because I live in Utah, so we're a right to work state.
Hey, we are here too.
Utah.
Sucks, don't it? No,
I
it's
lived in Utah for a little bit.
I think it's the most fantastic thing in the world is the right to work and the right to get fired for being a fuck up.
It has its pluses.
Well,
it does have its pluses, but it also has its negatives too.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's down to the bosses because one
we
way.
actually get shit done in Utah, so we don't have to worry about the union people telling us what to do all the time. We can get shit done.
You don't have to worry about that here in Florida too, but I know that one of the downsides is that they can fire you without giving any real reason. And one of the practices that a lot of the local businesses around where I live have gotten in the habit of, they'll hire teens for the holiday seasons, and then they'll fire them right before tax time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just before they become qualified for proper status or something.
Yeah, and that's a really, really, really big negative thing that comes with right to work.
And again, I think it comes down to state laws, because even though we're right to work, and if you get fired for no reason, you still, the company still has to pay that whatever insurance or when people get laid off, and then you can get benefits from the state, that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's really sad that we don't have, I love this thing because it tells workers to have ethics. I just really wish that business owners would strive to be the same way and be a little bit more ethical.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I think most business owners do try to be ethical. The problem is it's the same problem that we have with bad cops, where a lot of people think that, oh, cops are out to get you. Is that negative impression that you got because either you got fired or a friend got fired sticks into their head a lot more than a company that's about to go under that kept you on and made sure that you had work because you're a good worker.
Yeah,
you're a lot more likely to remember getting fired than remember.
Yeah, the bad news spreads.
Well, yeah, isn't that basic psychology? The negative hurts twice as much as the positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. I like that. That makes total sense.
Yeah, it is a fact.
Anyway, let's continue a bit, because I think all the points we've discussed so far, we can easily say, yeah, this is agreeable. We don't understand why anyone would disagree with these points, right?
We don't understand that mindset of SJWs in general. That's the whole reason we're here.
Well, true that. But the coming 4 points, I'm pretty sure we can see. Oh, sorry, coming 5 points. I'm pretty sure we can see why social justice nerds would spurge out. Because if we go to point 8, I believe the most annoying sound in the world are whining and complaining.
Yeah, but they have no self-awareness. They don't know they're whining and complaining.
No, as far as they're concerned, it's legitimate grievances.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, legitimate grievances don't come in C minor.
Was I the only child that was told, no, you are not allowed to whine and cry. You're going to do this shit. And if you want to whine and cry, you do it. You whine and cry after.
I grew up like that. I really did. And I actually had to change for myself to realize that whining and crying doesn't get you anywhere. What gets you places is actually putting your foot down, putting some effort in, and trying to make yourself distinguishable.
Yeah.
Because all whining, bitching, and crying does is it makes your friends leave you. It makes no one respect you. It makes your parents hate you. It makes everything in your life a downward spiral. And it makes you focus on all the bad things.
It really
you get nothing from whining and crying. You get everything from just putting in a little bit of effort.
I teach my kids, or I try to teach my kids, that whining and crying doesn't get you nothing. I will be the asshole parent that, you know what? You whine and cry. Cool. You're in shit. You're still going to end up having to do those dishes. And you know what the surprising thing is? Is once the task is done, there's never any whining and crying.
Yeah, because it's
Except for
done.
when I send them up to their room because they're whining and crying through the entire task. And then that's what they whine about.
But that's the thing, though. Once it's done, it's done.
Man,
This is
I'm
something
just...
I teach my kids at work as well. I mean, you can spend half an hour complaining on why you won't want to do something, or you can spend 50 minutes on doing it. Which one will be more? Which one will be more successful? Which one will give you a better feeling?
That's
Do
racist.
You do it. It just makes it easier. It makes your life so much easier. And I was so happy when I finally had that light bulb turn on. You have no idea. You have no idea.
No, you're completely correct. There is. I mean, I work with people with autism, right? I must have mentioned this once or twice before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know of a professor emeritus, which is higher than a professor, I've been told, in a university in Belgium, in Ghent, I think it was. This dude is as autistic as you can get. He really is. But he is a professor. He does teach. So how did he get to that position? Because obviously this is a question people ask, because somehow people think when you have autism, you must be stupid.
Most of my friends are autistic, and they're not
That was
stupid.
our generation that thought autistic people were stupid. Fuck. 4chan proved us wrong.
Actually, I could have proven you wrong way before that. But never mind that. But basically, this guy, this professor, basically always had one mantra, one thing that he kept in mind. First, do the things you need to do. Then do the things you want to do.
Yeah.
This way, you force yourself to get the job done.
Yeah, and once that light comes on, it's the closest thing you could come to reaching Nirvana, if it's a real thing. No, I'm not even joking. I am being dead serious. It is like someone is handing you the keys to success at life.
Yeah.
It is a wonderful feeling to know that now I have the tools to succeed. It is wonderful. You're not always going to, but you can. And that's the best part.
Yeah.
Well, it's like people that fucking complain about like how the rich always have good credit and everything. They never consider that the rich pass down their knowledge. The poor pass down their ignorance.
Well, that's a good way of
Now,
saying it.
we all, in all of our respective countries, we have credit ratings, right? Like, that's not just a Canadian...
Yeah, we do.
What's a credit rating?
Guess what? When we turn 18 or age of majority, do we not all have the exact same credit rating?
0.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're
we
right.
all zero.
We are all a 0. It doesn't matter if you got $1 million in your bank or you're overdrawn 500. Your credit is still exactly the same.
Yeah, no.
Anyway,
Heard it.
let's continue a bit though, because these are the 4 or the 5 points SJWs I assume have problems with. I believe that my education is my responsibility and absolutely critical to my success. I am resolved to learn as much as I can from whatever source available to me. I will never stop learning and understand that library cards are free.
With that little asterisk, because Futter's library cards aren't.
Yeah.
My library cards are not free, but I do have access to a library for free.
Well, my library cards aren't free either, but I can go in and read a book there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough, though. Basically, point 9 boils down to this. You are responsible for you.
And that's the magic word they hate.
Yep.
You?
Responsibility.
Responsibility, yeah.
When Sargon says these are gender communism, I think that's a very accurate description, because these people really hate meritocracy. How do you say it in English?
Meritocracy.
Meritocracy. Thank you, nobody.
I was really struggling to figure out what you meant.
It sounded really exotic.
You are a lot stronger than I am tonight, mate.
I'm good with word games.
Which is really good for a spoon.
No, but they really hate that you actually have to work for your success. So everything that costs effort, that's immediately labeled as toxic.
Yeah, and they're making explicit attacks on it,
Because,
on meritocracy, upon effort, upon facts.
Because they trump the feels, and the feels are the reals.
Yeah, and they want free shit.
I want free shit.
I want free shit too. I can have free shit. I just have to eat and wait a few hours.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
to the toilet
it's
in the morning.
shit.
It's free though.
Hey,
It's free, but it's actually shit.
if you're about to say it's 2 in the morning there, Raven, you're not allowed.
Okay.
Well,
You need-
especially if it's not true.
It's only midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You got another 2 hours left on this stream.
Yep.
But let's continue with point 10. I believe that I'm a product of my choices, not my circumstances. I will never blame anyone for my shortcomings or the challenges I face. I will never accept the credit for something I didn't do. Point 10 is basically point 9. It's my responsibility.
I 95% agree with this.
Give me an argument for that 5%.
Circumstances can be wildly varying. Like, someone born in Africa is not going to have the same chances that they would to succeed if they were born here.
True that, but that still doesn't mean that
Onset
they don't have a
intersectionality.
chance.
No, but and again, this is literally just broad. Since we can't apply all of this to America. We're applying this to everyone, which is what we did with the first two, because those were mostly patriotic related. So, in general, I believe that your choices define 99% of your life.
Yeah. That is true.
I
Shit
will-
happens and you can't help it sometimes.
Yeah,
You
that's
need,
pretty much my only point. Is shit happens and you can't prepare for everything.
you need to make do with what you have.
No, but
so.
see, as in like Africa.
It's like what Dick says. Yeah, you have to deal with what you have.
Yeah, exactly. But like, let's say, for example, you're 7 years old and your parents get cancer
Right.
or die in a car accident. You can't prepare for that, and there's nothing you can really do about that, and that's going to change your outlook on life, and you possibly every potential outcome of your life that you would have had they been alive and there to support you. You can't prepare for that.
No, okay, but can you blame somebody for losing your parents at the early stage?
No, you can't do that either.
So that's
No, the point was saying
maybe the drunk
I'm
person who drove
not
over them.
of my circumstances, and what is being said is sometimes you can't help but be the product of your circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, there's a difference between becoming a product of your circumstance and being complacent because of your circumstance.
Yeah, but you understand the point being made is that there is a subtle.
For example, I could never plan for my friend not being here anymore.
True that.
And that had a very big impact on me as a person.
So that goes to the second part of that thing is, where is it? I will never blame anyone for shortcomings or challenges I face.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to place blame in a negative sense, I guess. Because,
No,
yeah, technically...
I know you're not trying to place blame, but even the fact that you're like, well, this is the 5% because I can't help it that my mate died.
No, Modwain.
No, that's
there
not...
are several points in there, and the objection is to part that one part which says I am the product of my choices, not my circumstances. The other points are distinct. Therefore, to object to that particular part of the statement can stand alone.
Mm-hmm. I would still say it can because it's how you deal with the situation, the choices you make based on the circumstances you
Yeah,
have.
but
the
you're still a
choices-
product.
The point I'm making is the choices that I made because of the situation made me a better person. I wouldn't be in the position to make those choices the way I did if he was still here.
True that.
That's
But
my point, and that's the only point that I'm making. There's no but.
Okay, fair point. How is this different for anyone else in different situations that are still difficult?
Did Poland prepare for World War II?
I believe they did. They just did a really shitty job of doing it.
No, but it's not just that. It's not about what about anybody else. The point is that's an absolute statement.
It is.
And the question is it an accurate and realistic absolute statement? And the answer is not 100%.
Well, I might look at it differently, but I
and that's fair.
really agree with you.
And that's fair.
No,
we don't have to agree.
Don't get me wrong. I understand the point you're making, but you're not. How do you call this? I don't want to sound offensive in this. I mean, I don't want to attack you on this.
Modwain, anything you say is not going to offend me. I promise you. Go for it.
Because it's not going to be. But the fact that your mate died and you had to deal with it is the circumstance.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
But you chose not to be a product of this because you continued to continue.
I did.
Carry on.
You are correct.
So in this, I still believe I'm a product of my choice. You are still a product of your choice. Your mate died, which is a terrible thing, which forced you to act.
Yeah, that's what I'm focusing on. It was forced. It forced me to make a choice that I wouldn't have had to make if the circumstance didn't present itself.
But you still made the choice.
No,
because I was
Modwain.
This is a chicken and the egg scenario. Which came first, being forced or making the choice?
The point is, it's worded as mutually exclusive, and nobody says
it's not.
Actually, they're not mutually exclusive. They can be interactive.
Well, I'm still not quite sure because if I look at the situation of losing someone, I know a lot of people make different choices.
Yeah. They did, but they wouldn't have had to make the choices if they didn't lose someone. That's the point.
No, the point is not that, because there's always something that forces us to choose.
No, but that's not what it says.
That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I think we're now getting in semantics. And as much as I was the one that kind of called out nobody on that, I'm a little bit more on his side now than yours.
I'm just saying.
It's not enough to
That's okay.
that's okay. The sentiment is still there in the thing, and I don't think anybody has an argument to the sentiment of what is being said.
No, Leprechaun said it best. Sometimes life doesn't give you choices; it just decks you in the face, and you have to deal with it afterwards.
Yeah,
but you still have to deal with it, and
but you're forced to deal with it.
But the way you deal with it is a choice. No, seriously.
No,
listen,
no.
I work in mental health care. Trust me.
But that doesn't give you an end-all, be-all to say that you're right on this, because I don't believe that you are.
Listen, there are people that are facing adversity.
Yeah.
And they crumble.
Yeah, they do.
There are also people that face adversity and they try to stand up and continue.
But if that particular adversity wasn't there, they wouldn't have to make those choices at all.
Yeah, but
there's no but. There is no but. If the problem isn't there, there's no reason to come up with the solution. Which means the choice doesn't have to be made. There's always going to be something. There is always going to be something, but it's what that something is. And when it happens, and it's setting these things as two individual separate entities. They are not.
Well, I still disagree with you guys, but okay.
And it's his stream.
So he wins.
No, it's not about winning or losing.
I'm joking, Mod, sorry.
We're all joking. It's not about winning or losing. It's about having fun with Santa Modwain.
Listen, I've said this many times before. I love it when we don't completely agree, because I don't want this to be an echo chamber.
And it shouldn't be.
I do.
What do you have against echo chambers, Modwain?
Echo.
It's the reverb.
Echo.
Echo. Chamber.
It's not going to work. I'm not like that.
Anyway,
I believe. Okay, I understand the world is not fair, and I'm okay with that. I do not resent the success of others.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yes.
The world is not fair.
And this is another point that I think is the painful bit for the SJWs.
Missed.
Am I wrong? Am I right? Do you think?
No, you're definitely right.
You're right. The statement's right, but SJWs are wrong.
Well, no,
it's
because
their
SJW.
philosophy.
Sorry, John, you go first.
I'm just saying it's their whole philosophy that life deals women or black people such a shitty hand, and there's nothing they can do about it, and they're perpetual victims, and there are oppressors. So this is contrary to their whole philosophy, saying, I have the predominant determination of how my life pans out. And they're like, no!
Yeah, that's the problem. It's kind of funny because I always love it when people talk to me, yeah, but black people, bloody, 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 blah. Hell, my team leader is black. He has a better job than I do.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, I don't always agree with him. I think he's not the best of team leaders I've ever had, but he's a great guy. And I mean, I might not always agree with him, but if I disagree with him, I recognize it's because we disagree, not because one of us is being malice towards blah, blah, blah.
But I think the problem, Mod, is that all race relations throughout the world somehow seem to get seen through the prism of certain aspects of the United States, even though the rest of us are completely different.
Oh, come on, John. We're not that different.
No, thank you for saying that, because somehow Black Lives Matter infiltrated Canada. And every time I hear something about Black Lives Matter Canada, all I can think of is back in history lesson, weren't we the destination for Underground Railroad?
Yes.
We didn't hate black people. We hated Chinese people.
Listen,
Canada should get a free pass. How many people did you guys save? Holy cow!
We don't hate the death. We don't hate
real slavery. All we did is paid Chinese people freaking a penny on a dollar to go kill themselves in a cave.
Canada. We don't hate you if you're from the desert. We hate you if there are too many of you.
I mean,
I wanted to trademark that.
There's a Black Lives Matter movement in Finland. Finland didn't even have black people until what, 20 years ago?
Yeah, exactly. We never had slaves in Britain ever until for like 800 years.
Yeah.
And then they say, oh, but you shipped a few. Yes, we did ship a few from the Africans who sold them to us.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this is something I don't get too, is a little bit of story time. So a little while ago, my one daughter went to me and she's like, do you know what an Inuit is?
That's the one true human.
No, I told her it's a really cold Indian.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I remember you telling me that.
He walked away and said that we're not allowed to call those people that anymore.
What, Indians?
No, you're not allowed to call them Eskimos.
You're not allowed to call them Eskimos.
It's an Indian you find in your
Hold
fridge,
on.
is it?
Are we still allowed to call Inuits Eskimos?
No, it's racist.
Why the hell not?
Eskimo.
I got my 10-year-old daughter here. Are we allowed to call Indians Indians?
No,
Why not?
I don't want to be called that.
Yeah, but are
They
they?
don't want to be called that.
Some of them
Excuse me, little girl.
No,
I'm
hold on.
Indian.
Come here.
Call me little girl.
You are a little girl. You're 10 years old.
Excuse me, little girl. I'm Indian, and I applaud anyone who calls me an Indian. So the fact that you are generalizing my culture like that offends me, and I would wish you'd stop doing that.
Plus, you're
Everybody be nice.
But
getting
be
heavy,
nice,
heavy
nobody. But seriously though, okay.
And she walks away.
No, but that's too bad because I'm seriously wondering. I mean,
bad.
she's being told this.
It's too bad
I'm
I
not
didn't.
blaming her.
Well, actually, no. I love her reaction because it's something she's not comfortable with, and she's just like, yeah, screw
And
that,
you like,
and walks away.
I love
you like your children uncomfortable for the nut.
But this is the
That's
thing
what
about
parents
our
are for,
current
isn't it?
education. This is the problem with our current education. She knows that you're not supposed to say Eskimo because it offends them. Why? She has no clue.
Oh, that's a good question.
It's an edict.
Hey,
And
daughter, I don't want to say your name on internet. Next time you're told that you can't call an Eskimo a cold Indian, ask them why.
I didn't even get to drop the punchline that I'm actually white as a ghost.
But then again, all Indians used to be white.
Yeah, well,
no,
I'm pretty sure I would make the Indians of back in the day look white or look black by comparison.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that most of the old Indians that came across Canada were Asian descent.
Yeah.
Or Indian descent.
Anyway,
They crossed the Bering Strait, didn't they? They crossed the Bering Strait, didn't they? When it was frozen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Europeans as well, by the way. But we're talking about 40,000 years ago now.
Racial injustice from 40,000 years ago must be fought.
I think it's about 12, actually.
No, the first time was 40. The Europeans came 40,000 years, I think.
Well, this is where we need Carlos. He's good on those numbers.
That is true.
Yeah, where the hell's our archaeologist? Someone go wake him up.
But I haven't.
Resident archaeologist.
Anyway, let's go to the last one. I think it's the last one.
Well, there are a couple.
Sorry?
There are a couple.
What do you mean?
We had
You did
11
10,
and 12.
so then there's 11 and
Did we
12.
do 11 yet? Okay.
Yeah.
I understand the world is not fair, and I'm okay with that. I do not resent. We did do this one. I do not resent the success of others. Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah, we did.
Oh, I slept through that, sorry.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah, it is my problem.
I believe that all people are created equal. I also believe that all people make choices. Some choose to be lazy. Some choose to sleep in. I choose to work my butt off.
Look, all people are not created equal. We all know that I'm better than any one of you. Okay, let's just get that.
Any real world attributes.
Well, I would like to just, I can't remember who said it, but as an Englishman, I know I won the lottery of life.
You did you? Is that why your country's filled with all those Muslims?
This was 150 years ago, but anyway.
Well, that's the thing with lotteries, though. If you're a poor person and you win a lottery, there's a good chance you'll be a poor person pretty soon.
Yeah, and you squander the wealth.
Yeah. So I'm willing to believe you won the lottery, but that might not have been so good for you after all.
I'm willing to believe
I
you won the
know.
lottery, but you bought
Wait.
into something. Oh, sorry, Lisa.
Sorry, I just real quick before I have to leave for a second. Have you guys ever watched old football players that made millions and millions of dollars? That there was this documentary about them. They all were like filing for bankruptcy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't actually about their laundering it away. It was that they felt guilty. And one football player alone was like supporting 12 different families.
Oh, wow.
So it's like they used that guilt on people that were poor.
It's like survivor's guilt.
Yep.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Did you ever hear of a thing called a stop payment?
Oh, it was a great documentary. I loved watching it.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I think
Most of what I know about old football players is they all usually get brain damage from
All
knocking
kinds
their
of
heads
them.
around.
Physical issues.
You know what I actually take away from this sweat thing?
Mike Rowe is a very integrity-driven person with principles.
I just love his name is Micro.
I cannot afford to give him $10 for a copy of this or $12.
Would you?
But I will print it out and I will frame it and I'll put it in my children's rooms, my room, and the living room.
Not a bad idea at all.
And it's something that we can read every fucking day. because there are very good principles to live by.
The 12 commandments of micro.
Actually, where did I put that?
Microaggressions.
I just closed it.
You know what's funny is we started this stream, or before we were having the stream, we were talking about microbreweries, and I just thought it was funny that he has something that's micro-works. Now all we need is a microbrewery.
And a microaggression.
Microsoft.
If Micro has a brewery, are we going to call it the microbrewery?
Well, since he's American, it'll just probably be the Brew Hub Brewery. Every fucking American city has one of those now. But they do have good beer, usually.
The last time I went out for a beer, I went to World of Beer, and I hated it.
What the hell is World of Beer?
It's
we have one of
World of
those.
beer.
I was like, you don't have World of Beer? Really?
Nah.
No, we had one, and that was the first time I ever tried Sam Adams.
Did you puke?
And that was the last time I ever tried Sam Adams. Because I wasted like $5 on that shit.
Oh, you poor bastard.
It was disgusting as shit.
You poor, poor bastard. Why did Bill Gates...
American beer is Flat Tire. Although I heard that's Jamaican.
The only American beer that I regularly like, and it's disgusting, but I like it, is Rolling Rock.
Rolling Rock's not American.
It's brewed in
Isn't it American?
Pennsylvania.
Oh wait, no, Rolling Rock is. Sorry, I'm thinking of a Canadian variant.
I was like,
From the same-
Rolling Rock's brewed just outside of Pittsburgh. My dad never lets me forget it.
I clued in after.
No, he's God, I can't get over that. My dad's a huge
Before we
Steelers
get-
fan.
Completely off topic about like SJW mentality.
Yep.
I'm going to screen share this. And granted, the majority of the people in here are international, so they don't know.
Oh, I've seen that. No, I've seen
guys-
that. That is a disgusting tweet.
Yeah, you guys know what the
Oh, that one, yeah. That's
The Humboldt Broncos was a hockey team made up of like 16 to 18-year-olds.
terrible.
The maleness, the youthfulness, and the
Hold on, nobody. The thing is there was a traffic accident and it killed half the hockey team. Now, this is something that hits very home to Canadians is because everybody knows somebody that's played hockey. Everybody knows somebody that's ridden those buses on the shitty ass roads. And that is the reason, like at this point, it says Broncos crash surpasses 4 million. Well, now it's surpassed 8
7.
million.
Oh, 8 already, well.
And we get this fucking bitch here.
Yeah.
Not trying to be cynical, but the youthfulness, maleness, and whiteness.
I know.
I'm sorry, this is the
Too good
worst
for her.
I think I've ever seen.
I just got back.
It really ties back nicely to the topic of the stream, which was principles. This person hasn't got any.
I just got back.
It's terrible.
I just got back from screaming into a pillow.
Alright.
This is absolutely the way to get the masses behind your point of perspective.
Yeah.
Well, no, the masses are actually like completely going to destroy this bitch in Canada.
That's
I
right.
really
They
don't
already started.
I really don't advocate violence against anyone, but someone needs to slap the common sense that God left out of her operating system back into her.
Well, even when we have political leaders tweeting this, like,
Look,
this screenshot, they've tweeted this screenshot out and been like, no, on both sides. Like the far left side of our political parties, far right side, whatever. It's like, no, this is uncalled for. This is bullshit. Shut the fuck up, you dumb cunt.
your political leader believes in your political leader believes it's person kind, not mankind.
No, maybe not that one, but we don't talk about that one because that's like having the inbred cousin. Do you really talk about it?
I mean, he's our president.
Yeah, and to be fair, Fudder, you've got the same royal family as us.
Oh no! If you know what, I am very proud to have the Queen on most of our currency. But if she was one of the ones that liked this, I would be the one to spearhead the
Oh
thing.
no, the Queen would never.
pick
Sorry,
only.
but you talk about inbred cousins.
Oh,
How?
But is this reaction still surprising? Because if you have another example with Rotherham's rape scandals, you have this British MP, this lady, who says that the victims should shut the fuck up because in the name of diversity and inclusiveness is being hurted.
No wonder you guys have all these cognitive.
Sweden,
You guys have all these cognitive dissonance. You have the Queen on the money, and yet it's in dollars. Should be pounds.
In America, they called the 1920s the Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to be calling the 2020s the Raping 20s.
I fear you make me correct.
is that when we all get sick of this fucking SJW shit and just make rape legal?
Well, I think
No,
we're
it's
looking-
where that SJW shit goes full-blown blast, and suddenly America's enveloped in anti-rape culture.
You
I
I
call it
thought
the
the whole
anti-rape.
rape going full blast shit was in 2016.
No, you ain't
want-
seen
you wanna
nothing yet.
see- You
Yeah,
want to see rape
just starting.
going up?
Was Linda till 6:30?
I have no idea what your daughter
Keep
said.
your phone on you.
But there's one place where we
And wear a sweater.
I know.
Because it's
You're not
Canada.
allowed
and
to
it's
wear
cold.
clothes
You're
anymore.
outside. Anyway,
Because-
there's one place where you can
Wrong.
actually see where the social justice narrative is bringing us, and that is in
Sweater's
Sweden,
way too
where
tight.
people are getting raped and attacked,
Guys.
but the government isn't talking about it, and the media isn't talking about it because it doesn't fit the narrative. Now, this doesn't happen yet in the US, but this is happening in the UK already,
And Germany.
and Germany, and France, and Belgium, and I'm not sure because I can't find any information on it in the Netherlands, but that could be because
It's already happening.
Look, I'm just saying we haven't seen the word. Everyone's saying that PC culture is getting, it's going away. It's going away. It's gonna
No.
stop. No,
Well, look at
we're
Sweden.
fucked.
No,
We-
no, I think that the P. Oh, sorry.
No, we are fucked.
They're
We
in
are
high ranks.
so fucked. It's not even funny.
I
They-
think PC
they are-
culture has hit its apex.
No.
It doesn't matter if it's hit its apex or not. It's already got its foothold in a door. It's not going away.
It's in the high ranks now. Because,
It-
Oh my God.
Goodness.
Fuck.
Yeah, that was me. I just accidentally hit the wrong button.
I mean, consider the UK, okay? We have a conservative,
Cool
allegedly right-wing government who are full SJWs.
Yeah, but your right wing's about as left, or your right wing's
No,
about
but
as
they
right as
never
our left
used to
wing.
be.
Your right wing is the same as our right wing.
No. The right wing in Europe is
What the
left.
fuck?
There
Yeah.
aren't true right wingers in Europe.
No. But they're
No.
full SJWs. They're not just not right. They're full SJWs. Our Prime Minister and our Home Secretary are full-on feminists, and they're pursuing
Yeah.
full-on
See-
feminist policies.
And here's the problem in America is we got lucky because we put our inbred cousin in the White House for 4 years, so we don't have to worry about anything serious going wrong because he's too stupid to have anything serious
Until
go
he
wrong.
attacked Syria.
Oh,
Yeah,
please.
Yeah,
Bit worried about that one.
Please. Not, nah, no, I ain't worried about that. I ain't worried. I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I ain't worried. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And if it does happen, Hillary was gonna do it anyway, so I was fucked anyway. I'm just saying, there is literally nothing I could have done to prevent this, so I chose the lesser of two evils.
Oh, I'm
I
not arguing
got-
about that. I'm
I
just
got-
saying,
No, you're right. I'm just saying. I got 4 years. 2 left until my country decides to implode on itself. Maybe another 4 if he gets lucky and gets reelected. But at this point, it's just a matter of time until we get someone in the highest office in the land who is part of this game. And at that point, we're fucked. We're
Like Corbyn.
playing a waiting game. There is no
Well,
winning.
Obama
There
was
is
partway
surviving.
there.
At this point, there's no winning. There's surviving
Hmm.
and waiting it out. We're fucked.
Well,
Hide your
wait.
weapons.
I don't know if waiting it out is the best strategy. If you look at Eastern European countries and Russia, they are still pedaling back from the communist era. There's still so much corruption, and the mentality is absolutely shit.
But
Well, I do
seems to be
not.
less corruption in the East European countries than there is in the West European countries at the moment, or at least different sorts of corruption, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't disagree that waiting it out is probably the worst option, but at this point, short of basically trying to fight where I can, that's essentially all I can do.
All we can do is make ourselves as loud, noisy, and obnoxious as the other side.
Yeah, until they decide that that's enough and decide to shoot us. They're already They're already attacking us.
I'm actually gonna say something because unfortunately it's 2018 and even somebody that loves satire, I can't tell whether it's satire or reality. Evil Gunny says they put Trudeau on our dollars. Has any country been dumb enough to fucking do that yet?
I hope not. But then again, there is a country that was dumb enough to elect them the prime minister. So.
Yeah, that was the first mistake.
He promised legal weed.
Oh God, you're so easily bought.
Yeah.
It wasn't us. It was the millennial vote.
Illegal weed is much more profitable.
It is.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, considering the time.
But one thing, Modwain, can I add one thing? You're saying it's not happening in the Netherlands, but we have a minister of education who puts this gender diversification. That's how it's called now. Into the institutions. So it's happening in every Western country.
Yeah, no, that's not the part I was talking about. I was talking about the covering up of sexist crimes.
We had a few rapes with refugees, and if you hear the stories, the police did everything to silence the things. So we don't know what's really happening.
I'm telling you guys,
well, that's the thing, though. We don't know what they're hiding. Because if we look at Belgium, they were trying to hide a lot, didn't work. Sweden doesn't even bother trying it anymore. They just simply don't report on it. They're not hiding it, though.
Yeah, they just changed the statistics so that they no longer record the origin or ethnicity of the perpetrator.
But I'd like to say that we do things better in the Netherlands, but I don't know. And that's the thing, because it's not something easily tracked.
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
It is getting late, though.
Yeah, so we are going to call it quits. Usually I would have done so 10 minutes ago, so it's not a big deal.
But why are we calling it quits there, Modwain? I think we got a lot more underlying issues to talk about.
Which is true, and I would love to do that next time.
But it's late.
But we've been here for 2 hours, and it's 1:30. Well,
and everyone's buggered off from watching.
Old man is tired.
You can blame yourself when
you're not that old. Why are you letting society put that stigma of age on you?
I'm not saying society tells me I'm tired. I'm saying I'm tired.
It just doesn't help that I call him Santa.
I don't mind at all. Anyway, anyone wants to say anything really interesting?
Interesting.
Okay, for everyone.
From all of us here at Modwain's House of Fun to all of you out there at YouTube who's listening to this, probably like all 40 of you, and Futternut because he has nothing to do on Sundays.
Well, Marcel, that's a very good point. And I agree with you. These are things to talk about. I guess this is also what Futternut was talking about. But considering the time, we're going to say bye-bye. Come on, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.